Yeah, let me go over it because I want to make sure that everything is really clear. As people joining us.
The homework and assignments are not so clear. You know, what's a homework, what's assignment, it's not so clear.
Yeah, I'm trying to, not trying, I am making sure. Let me clarify, this is a good one. Let me start with that one. Step number one, everything that I do, homework, assignment, it's really all designed for you, okay? There's no real grade on the homework, there's no real grade until you submit the final assignment, okay? So everything that I do, I'm trying to do it in such a way that will help you to get ready for the exam before you get to the exam, meaning over the semester, okay? So if you feel like you need more time, just please send me an email or ask the representatives to send me an email. I will extend even the time of submission. It's already putting a gun on your head. You have to submit it by that time. But I really strongly recommend you try to finish the assignment / the homework on time. That's way you'll make sure that you don't really kind of accumulating material, and many of those materials you really need to go over it. There's no way around it, okay? But I do really would like to, let me share my screen. And I would like to go over the website, and please feel free to tell me what not clear in the website, okay? By the way, all the assignment will be in the model. I always will put the assignment / homework in the model, okay?
Amos, I have a question about that,
Yeah,
about the Moodle. So if it's on the Moodle, is it just there to remind us to go on the website and do the homework? Because I was under the impression we were supposed to only be submitting it on the Academy website.
You can submit it either of those places. That will be fine.
Okay, so we don't have to do it on both, and it doesn't matter which.
Correct. If you do it on one of them, it's good enough.
Okay,
Almost,
thank you.
I think there are people waiting for you to let them into
Yeah,
those.
that's what I'm doing. I'm always watching it. Yeah, it's so important for me to make sure that this website is clear to everyone. So please feel free to comment. All comments are really welcomed. If we go to courses, and we go to business, we go to corporate valuation. Very soon we'll get to the simulation. Okay, this is the way you see the website. So take a test. I try to really put here almost a lot of types of questions. Some of them just teach you stuff to emphasize point. And as you know already, if you click, you get an immediate response if you answer right or wrong. Hopefully this is helpful, I would say. A lot of stuff that I put here, it's really summary. Some of them even making sure you read the chapter or putting emphasis of the chapter. Some elements are really not always clear, but the questions clarify them. Today I will go over some material in the second part. If you see here, take a test, you'll see that some of the questions refer to that you need to use, but we went over in class. This is what we did last week, and you will see this is what we did last week. This is summarizing nicely a lot of the stuff we went over last time. So this is an excellent question for you. And then that's what we're going to do today. Okay, we'll talk about drivers, value, what drives values up. We'll talk about Gordon equations. And here I just put some questions. By the way, you can try it and you will see today's session. There's a little simulator, or I call it calculator / simulator. You can answer those questions. I will show it today. Then we'll see in this question also I put another simulator for this one so you can test yourself, okay? Please go over those questions, they are really useful. If you go over all of them, you are 95% ready for the exam, I would say. In addition, there is assignments. This one you do in group, and this is basically just read and you, by the way, it's the due date, it's the SWOT analysis. If you need more time, please have your class representative send me an email and I will extend to give you more time. Try not to delay, you know, semester running by so quickly and then you get stuck with so many assignments. Homework is individual, basically to help you to get ready for the exam. This one is based on something we're going to go over today. Okay, and in fact, this is a little simulator. The nice things about it, you just go ahead here and you change numbers. Let's say I put 2%. You see that all the numbers are immediately change. So you can really answer those cases, study. It's an excellent way. You don't need to go to Excel. It's really like a placement for Excel, right? Online in the right place to, for example, the first case, you need to change it to 10% and you get the result. And then it tells you change the growth to 0 and then you'll see the results. And then you have to see the conclusion based on what I just showed in those cases, okay? And then you just change it and you learn from it. I will go over it today in depth.
Amos, could you please go over, explain how do we deal with homeworks that are due each week if we're in groups? How do we write them every week? And
I'll give you an example. This one, for example, the only things you really need to do is just do it and confirm your understanding. For example, like I look, let me refresh this screen again. Okay. I just give you an example. For example, if you, let me show you the homework for next week or for the next time, okay? For the 25-5, okay? This one, in fact, it's just really a review of what we're going to do in the class. Let's say you did all the cases and you're done. You see in the bottom here, there is a little text here. You can click here and you say homework or you write your name, Amos. If I will know exactly who it is, done. You can even write done, it's fine. It's really mostly for you, okay? This is it. I did my homework, okay? This is like an example how you submit it. You don't need to do anything. This is for you. So if in the exam, I will show you this screen, okay? For example, I can take just a screenshot of this one and change some of the numbers, and I expect you to be able to fill it up in the exam. You should know how to do it. Is that clear? Questions? Go ahead, guys.
Yes, that's clear. The question is about the work that we have to submit at the end of the semester. You said that we can write, you know, the questions that you give to us, and at the end we just file it up together, and we have our work done for the semester.
Correct. So see, this one, for example, this is for you as preparation for the exam, okay? So by the way, here I just submitted my homework. I went over that, I confirmed that I did my homework. I don't need more than that. On the other hand, when you see here, there's assignment. Assignment is a group assignment, okay? This one, as you see, as we go along, you will have more assignments that lead you to get to the end of the semester, so you'll finish all the necessary things to write your paper. And the final assignment, I will ask you to upload your paper to the Moodle. You upload it to the Moodle. If you want, you can upload it here, but I really strongly recommend you upload it to the Moodle because it's formal. And then I give you a grade on the final paper, okay? So that formally, The only things you really have to upload, so I grade it, it's the final paper, and that's 30% of the grade. The exam is 70%. Is that making
Almost the SWOT was in
clearer?
Hebrew.
Go ahead.
The SWOT example that you gave is in Hebrew. Do you have one that's in English?
Exactly. I wrote, I think I sent an email to somebody. I
To
will
me, yeah,
add
to
here.
me.
Please make me a favor. Send me an email right now and I will upload one in English. I think it's because last semester it was in Hebrew and I changed to Hebrew and I forgot to bring it back, to put it back. So please send me an email. It will be done probably today or tomorrow morning. Okay? Okay, so let's see what we're going to do today. Let's first of all, let's review what we did so far. So far, we prepared ourselves for this course. We started by introduction. I talked about what we're going to cover in the course. And then we went into the accounting issues. We talked about what is intrinsic valuation. And then we dived into the accounting topics. This one was a very important to know the link between the three financial statements. We saw the income statement, the difference in the balance sheets give us statement of cash flow. And then we saw this is a cash flow for the equity. This is the cash flow for the enterprise. What do we mean by enterprise? Enterprise is the cash flow for the debt holders plus the equity holders. Okay? Then I kind of reviewed a little bit, how do we do a discounted cash flow? I gave you the little calculator here. And in fact, you can play with it if you change, let's say the first cash flow was 2,000, it's growing 5% every year. Therefore, the growth rate goes up to the year 5, up to year 6, sorry. And then this one means that this amount is going to grow forever. What's the net present value of that amount? That's what we call terminal value, and that's the topic of today's session, okay? Then we're adding the terminal value to the cash flow. I'm getting the 5th year. This is the cash flow for the 5th year, okay? This is the cash flow of the 5th year. You can think about this amount as the value of the company at the end of the 5th year. I will repeat that. It's a little confusing. If I were to ask you in the exam, showing you this latest screenshot, what is the value of this company at the end of the 5th year? It is really this number, 64,422, okay? What is the value of that company today? I will have to multiply it by the discount factor. That gives me the net present value of the company that is going to be in the end of the 5th year. I need to add it to the net present value of every payment every year for the 4 years. I have year 1 up to the year 4. The net present value of each payment is this amount. And then the net present value of the total value of the company plus the cash that I'm getting in the 5th year, that gives me the net present value of the company. I add it up, I will get net present value 55,581. I put one of the questions in the homework, or the review question, I should say. According to the numbers in this example, is the net present value of the company today is higher than the net present value that it's going to be in the 5th year? Anybody wants to help?
Yeah, it is.
It is. What is the net present value today?
Almost, what's the discount factor? How do you get the 0.94, 0.89?
The discount factor, I talked about it last time. This is something you studied in finance. Let me just write the formula again. Discount for the first year, it's 1/1 plus cost of capital. Let's call it discount rate, or the R, what you commonly call it in finance. Okay, so 1/that, that's the discount for the first.
Plus R.
And R here in this example, it's the WACC, it's 6%. So
Isn't
this
it
one will be equal, in this example, 1 over, sorry, my mistake, it should be plus here. Thank you. 1 plus 0.06. And that's the way this number gives me, according to this calculator, it gives me 0.94. 0.94. Okay? What do I do with this number? This is really converting future cash flow to how much is it today. So getting 2,000 a year from now, it's worth only 1,887 today. So the discount factor times the cash flow in the end of the first year, it's worth today 1,887. Okay, what is the discount factor for the second year? I just take this number. It should be really power 2, okay? It should be power 2. That's for the second year. I take it power 2. That's what give me a discount factor of 0.89. Okay, and in order to know what is the net present value of getting 2,100 2 years down the road, how much does it worth today? It's 1,869. The why I get 1,869? It's 0.89 times 2,100. That's the net present value. The same thing is about the other years. This is power 3. This is power 4. This is power 5. I multiply it by the cash flow. It gives me the net present value for year 0. Question, guys? Everyone is happy with this one? Question about this one? So answering my question, anybody wants to answer the question before? Is the net present value today, it's higher for this company than the value of this company 5 years down the road? Anyone?
I'm
Hi,
confused by
guys.
the
Anyone
question,
on
but it sounds like the more years that you add on, the more value you give to it.
Exactly. If you notice,
it's
by
5
the way,
years or
what is the value of the company 5 years down the road?
It's more than it is 2 years down the road.
Correct. But how much is that by the end of the 5th year?
64,422.
How much do you say?
64,000.
Oh, wonderful. So let's think of, very good. So this is really worth to say, we see here 64,422. And we see also 61,991. And we see a payment of 2,431. So let's break it down to 2 pieces. This is the cash flow I'm getting in the 5th year. You can think about it as dividend. After I got the dividend, what's the value of the shares of this company? The value of the company will be 61,991. This is the value of the shares by the end of the 5th year. Okay? If I look at it in the 5th year, what happened in the 5th year? The 5th year, on one hand, I'm getting cash in my hand of 2,431. In addition, I'm holding the shares. The value of the shares is 61,991. This is represent the net present value of the payment I'm going to get from the year 6 to infinity. And today's session, we will learn how to calculate this one using Gordon equation. Okay, so the value in the end of the year, the 5th year, it's 61,991. Okay, that's the market value by the end of the 5th year. In addition, I'm getting cash of 2,431. Together, what I'm equivalently getting is 64,422. That's why we're discounting the whole amount. This amount, it has 2 components, a cash component and an assets that I'm holding, which is the shares in my hand. Any question? There's a little hard to swallow it will be clearer when we really understand how we calculate this number of a terminal value, okay? That will be clearer by the end of the session today. Okay, does that make sense? So if I'm comparing 61,991 to 55,581, well, the market value of this company is going up over the 5 years. It's going up from 55,581 is going up to 61,991. That means this company value is going up over time. And we'll dig into it deeper as we go along. Okay, and I put in nice questions to make sure that you cover all the possibilities that can be in these kind of things. Okay, before we start, go ahead.
So we have present value 55,581.
Correct. That's as of today.
In the year 0, and in the year 0, in the year 5, present value is 64,422.
No, it's 61,991, but say the value of the shares will be 61,991. In addition,
this is the present value.
Exactly. This is the present value at the 5th year. And it will be clearer today. Okay? So let's hold on that. I will come back to it toward the end of the session today. Okay? This number that I just kind of marking here represent the net present value I'm going to get from the year 6 to infinity. And that's for that we will use a golden equation. For example, I'm getting in the 6th year 2,480. The following year is going to go up by 5%. Every year is going to go up by 5%, okay? And that's going to continue up to infinity. What the net present value of it, of all those payments from the 6th year up to the up to infinity, the net present value is 61,991. In addition,
we got this number 64,422 by adding up the cash flow.
Correct. Adding the cash I'm getting at the 5th year.
Okay, why do we subtract the 5th year? If
we're adding, we're not subtracting. We're adding.
No, we're subtracting for this terminal value after the dividends paid out, right?
Correct. This one, excellent. This is the dividend in the 5th year. And this one represents the dividend I'm getting from year 6 up to, from the year 6 up to infinity. So the 61,991 represent the cash flow from the 6th year up to infinity. The cash flow of the 5th year, it's 2,431. So we're adding the cash flow we're getting in the 5th year plus the net present value of the cash we're getting from the 6th year up to infinity. Does that make sense?
How does it work? How does it work? The present value at year 4, 5, 3, if we're adding up the cash flows to the present value at 0, and then we subtract at the same time the cash flow.
Here we go. Let me help you out. Okay. Let's take this example and do it in Excel. Okay. This is a good question. By the way, those questions are really good. Okay. It's a little confusing in the beginning, but then it will make sense. Okay. Let's take this example. Okay, I have time 0. I have time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I can continue forever. Okay, I can go forever. Is that right? Okay, many, many years to the future. Okay, what's the cash flow at the 1st year? Why did it? I lost it. That should be 2. Sorry. That should be 3. I love it. What did happen? It doesn't matter. I can do it forever, okay? Now, the way I look at it and I say, okay, this company, I'm going to get 2,000 this year. And next year it's going to go up by 5%. So I'm taking this amount, multiply it by 1 plus 0.05. Okay? That's the why I'm getting the 2100 here. Everybody happy? Everybody understood how I got the second number, 2100?
Yeah.
So if I take this equation and I drag it to the right, you'll get it going up by another 5%. That's exactly how I'm getting the second number. What is the fourth year? Fifth year? That's the way we're getting all those numbers up to the end of the fifth year. How much I'm getting the sixth year? It's exactly, that's, wow. Let's see, this is really seems like wrong. I'm getting here, according to the Excel, 2552, and here I'm getting 24. How come? Anybody wants to help? Just
The
guess.
growth rate changed.
Exactly right. So we're assuming that in the short term, the company is going to go up 5%, but in the steady state, and we will talk about it later on, why is it, how do we determine those numbers? Okay, for now we accept it. So in the long run, it's going to go up only by 2%. So if I go here, I really should change the equation here and change it to 2%. Okay? Okay, so here we got all the numbers, everything makes sense. Now I could have taken this number and continue dragging it forever. Okay, but I'm not going to do it. Instead of doing the whole things here and then doing a discount for all the years from now, from first year up to infinity, we're going to split it to 2 stages. We're going to say, you know what is the net present value of all the payment in the future?
Amos, using the Excel formula, don't we have to power like for each year?
I'm always taking the year previously, so it's already powered. You see, I'm taking this one takes the year before, so this is already powered, so I have to add it only one time.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So I can go do it for infinity, but that will be really nonsense, okay? It would be nonsense and doing a net present value of each one of those. So there is an equation, okay? There is an equation how you do the net present value of all those payments.
Almost, you did the
Yeah, go
opposite.
ahead.
The beginning is 5%, and then after that it's 2. Like, look at the second year. It should be 5%.
From the 6, from the 5th to the 6th is 2%. From the 6th to the 7th,
You did the opposite.
yeah, we need to change all of them. You're absolutely right.
They're getting awesome.
My mistake, you're right. Thank you. I think I need to change this one to 2%. Thank you very much. And then from here, I need to copy it on 2%. You're right.
So you have to go to the second year and change it to 5%.
Also, yeah, second year is wrong.
Second year,
Yeah, so here I need to have
5%.
5%. I think that's what got confused. You're right. Thank you very much. So this one should be 5% up to here. And from here to here, it's 2%. And now I'm saying, okay, I'm going to divide my exercise to 2 parts. First of all, I'm going to see what is the net present value of all, this one is also wrong. Why? Why is that? Yeah, I know why. Anybody wants to help?
It's taking I because you made the space.
Exactly, it's taking the one before. So if I really want to do this one, let's just do this one manually again, plus the one before times 1 plus 0.02, and that should be okay. And then I can drag it, and I think all the rest should be fine. Now it's going. Now, if you want to convince yourself, try to do, even 100 is almost close to infinity already. The net present value of all the amount from here to infinity almost doesn't worth much as of today. So, so you can try manually doing it. I wouldn't really recommend, it's a waste of time. But if you want to convince yourself, if you do the net present value of all those payments, there is an equation for it. And that's what we're going to do today. Okay, that's the equation we're going to cover here. to there, okay? We will learn the equations. So we get a number here representing the net present value of all the payment up to infinity. According to this calculator, it's 61,991. So this number, it's reflecting the net present value of all those payments. So we can ignore all of those because the net present value as of the end of the 5th year, it's 61,991. Now, if I want to know what is the cash flow every year, I simply add those two cells.
But Amos, if the 61991 is the net present value from year 6 until year 100 or whatever, why do we have to
Up to infinity, up to infinity to be
fine,
correct.
up to infinity, but whatever. Why do we have to discount that?
Oh, see, this is the amount that it's worth in the 5th year.
Oh, okay.
Okay, excellent question. In fact, this is a good question. So I said, okay, now what is 64,422? This is exactly this number I'm getting here. This is correct as of the end
Year
of the
five.
5th year. How much is it worth today? I must add the discount factor. Discount factor, and that's one we will know already how to calculate. It should be 1 over 1 plus, I think it was 6%. How much was it? 6%, okay? Plus 0.06, okay? That's the discount for the first year, okay? By the way, anybody had an idea how to do it easily? You can take plus, okay? The previous one, power 2, is that right? Does that make sense? That's why I'm getting the next year. But it doesn't really matter. You just copy this one. If this is more easy for you, just do the following. You'll get the same things. Control V. Here you just have to do it. Power 2. Same things. You'll get the same number. Okay? Good. I can drag it. And I'm getting the discount for every year. Okay, discount factor times the cash gives me the net present value per today. But that's for every payment. So I will take the 2,000 times the discount factor. That's the net present value of the first payment. And then if I drag this one, it will do it for every year, right? So therefore, this time this gives me this number. That's the one we're getting this one. Same things. When I add the whole things together, now let's add them up. I should get exactly same things that I'm getting here, 55,581. That's exactly what we're getting here. Just rounded up a little bit. Everybody got the idea how do we do the discounted cash flow? I hope you did it in your finance class. Did you? Anybody? Hello?
Yes.
You did that. Yeah, that's just a little review. The nice things about this one is that if you change the assumptions here, it's automatically calculated. If I change the 2% to 3%, it's automatically recalculated this number, the net present value, everything is calculated. If the WACC is a little lower, let's say 5%, you immediately see the effect. The net present value goes up, which makes sense because the discount factor will be lower, okay? And you play with it a little bit, and then you will see the effect of the net present value. Notice here, this one is lower than this one, and then I will ask you, if I put a discount factor of 0.0001, meaning there's no really cost of capital, okay? Is this number is higher than this one? Oh, that you can't really because the growth rate cannot be higher, okay? So in this example, you see you have like crazy 2,431,000. Is this one is higher than this one? And I will let you play with it at the homework. And what are the conditions for the net present value today to be higher than it was, it's going to be 5 years down the road? If this one is higher, Then this one, that means the value of the company is going to go down over the years. What are the conditions? You can play with it and find it out yourself. Okay? That's a good exercise. Play with this one, put 20%. Okay? Is the net present value here is higher than here? Well, let's see. Well, 41472. No, this is lower even. Oh, let's put, just make it crazy. Let's go into 100%. And that will teach you a lot about what's happening to a value of a company. Sit still. The value of the company doesn't change almost. Why? That's a curious question. And we'll dive into that some today. And some of you, it's in the homework. But this is a really nice calculator or simulator to explore what's happening to the value of the company. And we'll go over it in a minute. Questions before, forget about the last couple minutes. We're gonna go over it today, okay? But everybody know how to use this one. This is really just like Excel, online Excel, I should say. Okay. And then you can play with it and does it automatically for you. I can put this one in the exam just as it is. And let's say I will remove this number and you should be able to know how to calculate it. That could be a nice exam question, okay? And then, or I will ask you what happened, why this one is lower than this one? What's the reason, okay? And then by the end of, when you finish your homework, you should know the answer. Good. Okay, so let's start. That's what we did up to this one. We didn't cover thoroughly last time, but you have it also in the homework. Please read chapter 2. Chapter 2 is excellent for what we're going to cover today. Okay, it's really well written. Excellent chapter. Excellent. With nice examples. And all of them are diving or bringing you to what we're going to do today, which is steady state or golden equation, what is known as a golden equation. Have you seen this equation before? Anybody?
No.
No, you haven't seen that one.
No.
Okay. Have you?
No, no.
No. Okay, so let's dive into, and first of all, understand what is it come to do. If I have a cash flow, okay, we kind of used it, in fact, right, to calculate the 61,991. It's represent the payment from the year 6 up to infinity, okay? Then you ask yourself, wow, what's going on here? How do I do that? So let's do it step by step, okay? Let's say, for example, I'm in year 0, year 1, year 2, 3, forever, goes forever, okay? And first year I'm getting $10. Second year I'm getting $10. Every year I'm getting $10 up to infinity, okay? And I'm telling you the discount factor or the cost of capital, it's 10%. Okay? 10%. Okay. If it's 10%, what's the net present value of getting $10 every year up to infinity when the discount factor, it's 10%? Anybody wants to guess?
Can you just repeat it one more time, please?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm going to give you $10 every year. Well, you go to the bank and you see the interest rate, just for the example, it's much lower today. But let's say you find out it's 10%. How much money you will need to put in your bank account in order for the bank to give you every period up to infinity $10? What happens if you put $100?
$100?
Yeah, exactly. If you put $100 in the bank, what's going to happen? You're going to earn 10% on the $100. That's you don't touch the principal. So the following year, your bank account will stay $100 and you just pull only the interest. So every year you just take the interest. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And you always keep in your bank account $100. That way you get a cash flow of $10 from now to infinity. Or in another word, if you have $100 in your hand today, it's equivalent to getting $100 every year from now to infinity. Does that make sense? Anybody?
You mean $10 every year, not 100, right?
Exactly. So you can say, here we go. If I have, how much I'm getting today? $10. Why I'm getting $10? Because the interest rate times the value I'm putting in the bank gives me $10. In my example, the $10, it's exactly the 10%. Oh, sorry. The 10% times the $100 I'm putting in the bank. Does that make sense? That's my deposit. The value of the cash flow have to be 100. 100, I'm getting 10% every year. That's the $10. Or in another word, I'm showing you here, I just proved that the net present value of a cash flow that gives me every year $10, V is equal exactly $10 divided by R. If we take this equation and we move the R to the left side, that's exactly what we get. So if I'm getting $10 every year, what's the net present value of it today? It must be whatever I'm getting divided by R. You have seen that equation in finance, and they have proven to you as infinite series, and here I just did it by logic, without using any mathematics. But I like this method. The reason I like this method, it's logical, you know? If I'm getting $10 every year, I put a deposit of 100, and I'm only pulling the cash, the interest, I'm keeping the deposit always to stay 100. That means $100 in my hand worth the net present value of getting $10 every year. Does that make sense, guys? Anybody? Hello?
Sorry, just to clarify, you're saying the $100 is the net present value?
Exactly. I just proved it in a really weird way. It seems like a weird way. If you try to do as I did previously, you take the discount factor, you can do it and you'll get the same number. Discount factor of equal to 1 divided by 1 plus, plus the interest. That's the discount. It doesn't like me. Probably I should, I just put here 0.1, that will be 10%, okay? If I will do the discount factor, it will be plus 1 divided by 1 plus the 10%. That will be the discount for the first year. Is that right? Are you going? Hello?
Yep.
Okay. And if I really want to get the same things, let's just look up this one to be, let's put that trick of putting here the dollar signs. Here, this is where we lock it. And let's just put here power the year. This is the first year. This is where we can drag it. And if I do it for, I'm stopping here, but I can go for infinity, yeah? And then I can just drag these numbers. I take these numbers and drag it to infinity, kind of. Let's do a lot of them. That would be good enough. Okay, let's do it. That should do it. And I'm getting $10 every year. So let's do that one. Yeah, okay. I drag it up to here. I just dragged it enough. Even 50 years will give me close enough. Okay. Okay. What the net present value of the first year? I would take the discount factor times the $10. That's the discount factor for the first year. And if I copy this one to all of them, That's what it should be up to the 51 years. I didn't do it for infinity, but that would give me close enough. So what is the net present value, the sum of all of those? If I will add them, I should do it up to infinity, but I'm kind of doing a shortcut and know that it's going to be close enough. You see, the net present value of the payment of the first 51 years, it's 99.21. The reason is I didn't get 100 is because I didn't go to the infinity. The more I will go, let's try that just for the fun. Just to convince yourself that that should be, if you go, I do it a lot, many more years, okay? You will get, now let's just do this one instead of up to here. I would just do it from here up to the end here. You will see it will get closer to 1. Okay, you see it's 99.999. That's very close to infinity. So really doing a net present value of getting $10 every year manually, okay, or doing it just by taking the $10, dividing it by the discount rate, gives me the same result. But I like the simple method, the simple logic. The reason that they must be the same, okay, it's because I'm always putting only the interest. I always have the V. So I'm only putting the interest, so they have to give me the same result, the V equal to the whatever I'm getting cash divided by R. This equation and this equation are the same, okay? Everybody happy? Hello?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. You can prove it mathematically, and I'm not going to go over that. You can look at the books you probably had in finance class, but it really doesn't give you any intuition. The beautiful part of it is, by the way, if I were to ask in the exam, what is the value? What is the value? Let's say 5 years down the road. How much you have in your bank account? Anybody can answer. By the end of the 5th year, how much you have in your bank account? Anybody?
You would have 100 plus the present value of those years. So plus
In
9.
fact,
plus
hold a second. You will have $100. You're absolutely right. Every year you have $100. By the end, let's look at the end of the first year. Okay, what happened? You put $100 the beginning of the first year. What happened at the end of the year? You got an interest of $10, correct? And you still have your $100, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. That's the
Yep.
most important point now. I put in the bank $100. The bank pay me 10%. Therefore, it's giving me interest of $10. But I still have my $100 in the bank account. What happened the second year? Well, the end of the second year, I'm getting another $10 on the $100, and my deposit kept to stay to be 100. What happened the third year? Again, I'm getting 10% on my money. I'm putting only the interest. So in my bank account, I always have 100. Does that make sense? Questions, guys?
Yeah, but this is not compound interest.
Is that interesting? You got it?
Yeah, but
No,
this is
but
not
like-
compound interest because
Yeah.
you're only
Okay,
getting a
so
10%.
this equation is very intuitive. This is what I like. This is economics. This is finance. You know, I can prove it that, you know, the sum of the discount, you know, it's a 10 times the whole discount. It's a series, infinite series that converge to be 1 over R. But it's mathematics. Here you get the intuition. The intuition is I'm putting $100 in the bank. I'm getting the interest. And I always keep the 100 in my bank account.
But Amos, I think it was Seth saying it, but like it's true, you don't get the compound interest. Like meaning, normally the first year, yeah, you have $100. At the end of the year, you get $110 in your account, actually.
Correct.
Because you have.
You're absolutely
so-
right. We'll talk
and
about
so-
that in a second. We get to that.
Okay.
Let's say the simplest example. I'm pulling the interest and I'm keeping my deposit to be constant. That will be the case. Now let's do your example. I love your example. You said to me, Amos, you know what I want to do? I don't want to pull the whole $10. Is that what you said? Is that right? Let's say I'm going to pull out only $6. Let's do this example. Do you want to help me?
Sure.
Okay. We're depositing 100. Okay. My cash flow is supposed to be 10. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to pull out, how much I'm going to pull out? You said 6. So how much left in the bank account now?
104.
Exactly. So let's do the formula. We have the 100 plus the 10 minus the 6. We agree?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's fix up a little bit. How did we get the $10 here? In fact, the $10 is nothing but the 100 times
10%.
exactly. Beautiful. Times the interest rate. We agree.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of fix this one, okay? And then how do we get the 6? Let's call the 6. How do we want to
6%.
call the 6? This is like the amount of money I'm pulling out or my dividend.
60%.
It's like 60%. This is like 60% out of the 10 that I made. Is that right?
Yeah.
How much did I keep? I keep 40%.
Mm-hmm.
So let's call that 40%, let's give it for now, reinvestment rate. I will come to that definition again later on. Let's call it 40%. But I'm doing your example, okay? Let me just add another row here, so it'll be nice. Okay? My reinvestment rate, it's 40%. Let me make it bolder. And here, we'll have a nice Excel. So I'm gonna call it the disk of the WAC. In our example, we didn't really discuss exactly what a WAC, but I assume that you probably heard about it in your finance class. Okay? So let's look at it. Good. We deposited 100 today. We're making 10%. That's exactly this amount. So let's kind of, just to make sure, put the dollar signs here. Because I'm going to drag it in a second. Then I'm pulling, how did I get to the 6%? I am pulling how much? I'm not taking the whole 10%. I'm keeping in the company 40%. That means 1 minus 40%. That's what I'm taking home. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody happy? Everybody saw how I got the 6% here? Okay, so this one is really, just let me put the dollar signs here. Okay, then I'm getting 104. What's gonna happen in the second year? Anybody wants to help?
It's going to be
Exactly.
$10.4.
Beautiful. So I'm gonna take the previous deposit amount, is that right?
Yeah.
Multiply it by 10%, and that's the amount of cash I'm supposed to get. So what's happening to my cash flow? It's not going up. Why it went up? Because I kept $4 extra. The $4 gave me 40 cents. That's the 10%. So the 10.4, it's not coincident because I didn't take the whole amount out. I kept some amount in my deposit. Okay, so I'm keeping the same rule, keeping 60%. Let's drag this one. Let's see if my equation will work. It should work, yeah. I'm keeping, I'm keeping 40%. I'm not taking the whole $10 and 4. I'm taking only 60% and 40% I'm keeping. Okay, so how do I get here? In fact, now I need to do this minus this. That will be my new deposit. Is that right? For a second, sorry, my mistake. I need to add it to.
Plus 100.
Yeah.
Plus the previous one.
Exactly. So I need to take the previous one. You're absolutely right. So let's do it this way.
Oh no, actually 100 because
What do you
you
think?
only no, you take 100. You do 100 plus.
I take
because
whatever
you-
I had in my deposit. Is that right?
Yes,
On
but if
that,
you
I
do
got $10.40, and I pulled out. I took out the 6.24. Does that make sense?
yeah.
And how do you know that you weren't wrong? That was $4, which makes sense, extra. This was a little bit than 4 because I'm keeping part of the interest on interest. Now I can take this one and start dragging it out.
You have the space. You have the space, though. You have the
What
space.
did I screw up?
You have the
Anybody?
space. You have the space, right? So
Yeah, let's see. I think this one should be a dollar sign, another dollar sign. That should be okay. Now let's see if I drag this one that works. It should work. Okay, good. And this one should work. Everything works. Oh, what happening to my deposit now? Who was the first one that asked that question? Here's a nice example. I'm not pulling the whole amount. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen to my deposit? It's going to grow.
Increase.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
By how much? What's the growth rate of my deposit? Anybody wants to guess?
14%.
Here, from here to here, it's very obvious. It's 4%, isn't it? Which makes
Yeah.
sense. I'm making 10%. I'm putting 60%, so I'm keeping 40%. Is that right? So my deposits went up by 4%. Or in another word,
Oh, so it's
the
4%.
10%, I'm making 10%.
10%.
I'm making 10%
Oh, 4%. Yeah, makes sense.
times the
40.
40%.
So
Oh,
it's
I'm getting a
4%.
number. I'm getting 4%. Wow, that's not coincident. By the way, the growth rate from every year to another one, it always will be 4%. You can check it. But it's logical. Why? Whatever I'm in my deposit, I'm making 10%, pulling out 60%, that means I'm keeping 4%. That's why it's going up by 4%.
Right, because you're taking 40% of your 10%.
Correct. Exactly right. See, look at the $100 that I deposited the first period. I got 10%. Out of the 10%, I'm putting out of my cash, my bank account, 60%. I'm keeping 40%. So 40% of the 10%, it's the growth rate of this one. Or another word, you can think about the $100 or 4. It's really easy. Taking the 100, okay, to the 100, I'm adding the 10, and I'm pulling 6. Okay? Or I'm keeping 4. If I'm keeping 4, this is the 100 plus the 4 gives me the 104. So but what is the 4? The 4 is nothing but 40% of the 10, isn't it? Does that make sense? Is that right? What is this for? It's exactly the 40% that I'm keeping in my deposit of the 10. That's I'm getting to the 104. So if I want to write it, so I can say, well, let's think about it. My growth rate of the company, the growth rate, G, must be equal to whatever, we'll call it return on invested capital. I use the word as the same things, but that's return on invested capital. That's how much money the bank account is giving me. It's 10% in this example. If I'm keeping in the bank account, okay, reinvestment rate, that's the growth rate. Or in our example, 4%, what we got the 4%, it's equal to the 10% we're getting on our bank account deposit. That's the ROIC times the 40% that I'm not putting out. That's the way, sorry, my mistake, that should be fair enough. the way we get, this one also should be percentage. In another word, how much is the company is going to grow? It's how much the return they are getting on their money. In our example, we're getting 10% every year, 10%, 10%. We're getting every year 10%. Fair enough? And out of the 10%, we're keeping in the company 40%. Therefore, the company would go up by 4%. Does that make sense? Everybody? Hello?
Yes.
Good. In fact, I could have proven this mathematically in many other ways, but I like the intuition. And doing it in an intuition way, you never can get wrong, okay? This is really stay with you. So, okay, this is one equation that you really need to memorize or really understand, more important. Think about it, you know, just write it to yourself. If the company value today, it's a V, okay? From that V, I'm making every year the ROIC. That's the amount of money I'm generating every year. That's the first year from 100, I'm going to 100 and this is the 10. Is that right? This is exactly the 10, correct? Out of which I'm keeping the RIR. That's the amount I'm keeping in the bank. So how much I have in the end of the year? I have my original V, that's the 100, plus this amount, that's the amount. So let's call this one V1, will be equal to how much I had originally. And on the amount I had originally, I accumulated ROIC 10%. Let me call this one here, so don't get confused later on. Let's call it ROIC. Okay, will be more clear later on. Okay, so I had 100. To the 100, I added the $10. That's exactly the 10%. The ROIC, 10%. So I accumulated. This gives me 10. Out of the 10, I'm not pulling the whole amount out. I'm keeping in my bank account 40%. That's the 40%. Therefore, by the end of the year, I will have my assets will be in the bank account will be V1. So how do we calculate growth rate, by the way? How do we calculate growth rate? It's the value in the end of the year minus the value in the beginning of the year divided by the value of the beginning of the year. One more time. How do we define growth rate? And you'll see the same equation in another way. Growth rate, G, it's equal to V1 minus V0, all that, divide, let me just be consistent. Divide by V0. Everybody agree? That's the definition of growth rate of an asset? Hello? Everybody with me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes.
Good. This is a definition. Whatever the value in the end of the year, minus the beginning of the year, divided by the beginning of the year. That's how much percentage-wise, how much in percentage-wise the value of the assets went up. But if you look at this equation in the top and try to move it, let's move V0 to the left side. If I move the V0 to the left side, what do we get? V1 minus V0 equal to what? To V0 times ROIC times return on reinvestment rate. Everybody agree? I just moved the V0 to the left side. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay? Okay, we'll take one more step. ROIC it should be. But let's take one more step. Let's go here. So divide by V0. So we'll take V1 minus V0. That's what we have on the left side. Let's put parentheses. And I'm going to divide by V0. What do I get on the right side? You see, it's like moving the V0 to the left side. What do I get? ROIC times reinvestment rate. We get the same equation in another way. That's exactly what we got here, isn't it? Same things, same logic. That's definition. Same way. So this is really how do we get the growth rate is the reinvestment rate times return on invested capital times reinvestment rate. This equation you should really know it by heart. Everybody happy? Hello? I don't see your faces, so I apologize that I'm kind of. Anybody can give me sign of life?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Good.
good.
Is that clear? Does that make sense? Intuitions?
Yeah, I think.
Excellent, excellent. So let's think about it now. And one more way, just rewrite it in a different way. How about if I say, okay, how much money did I really get the first year? I got the 10, correct? I got the 10. I pulled the 6, I started with 104. So how much money did I got the first year? The first year I had the $10. What is the $10 again? The reinvestment rate times my investment. So let's call the 100 A. A is my asset. It was 100, correct? Everybody agree? My reinvestment, return on invested capital was 10%. So far, so good? Sorry, let's just write it this way.
Yeah.
0.1. Okay? So if I want to look at it as my revenue, if I can call it revenue for now, let's call it revenue and we'll give it a better name. Okay? So how much is really my revenue? Let's just call it revenue. It's already the right one. For us, it's good enough for now. Okay? So we'll do this times this one. Fair enough? Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much,
Yes.
how much out of the 10 in our example we kept? We know that the growth rate, G, was 4%. Okay, that's what we want to achieve. Now, how much do you need to invest or keep out of the 10 to get a growth of 4%? I'm totally confusing you. Okay, but one more time, it's the same things, switching it around.
40%.
I have $100, I'm making 10%, therefore my revenue is $10. So far, so good. But I want my assets to grow by 4%. How much money I need to keep out of the 10 percentage-wise to make sure that I will get 4% growth. That means I want the next year to have here 104. Is that right? That's what this one means. Everybody agree?
6%.
I want the assets to go up by 4%.
40% you need to keep.
Exactly. How do you get the 40%? Can you give me any formula that can help me to find 40%? It's exactly right. Out of the 10, I have to keep in the company $40. Is that right? Otherwise, I will not grow by 4%. Everybody agree? 40% of 10, it's $4. That's exactly the $4 I'm missing here. But how did I get these? How can I get this 40%? Logically. Anybody? Let me give you a hint.
Is it like 4.0? Oh, let me.
Yeah, let's look at this equation. Is this equation can help me out? Can I look at it a little different? I want to get 4%.
0.04 divided by 0.1.
Exactly right. If I want the reinvestment rate, this one can give me also, okay? These are some things. That our reinvestment rate should be equal to G over ROIC. It's the same things, isn't it? It's the same equation. Everybody agree? Just switching around. I took the ROIC to the left side, okay? This is exactly the same equation. So how do I get the 40%? Very simple. If I want to go by 4%, okay, I need to divide it by the reinvestment, return on invested capital. That will tell me the reinvestment rate. Everybody got it? Everybody got it?
Yes.
Seemed confusing in the beginning, but you play with it around a little bit. And that's really intuitive way of learning it, instead of just learning, memorizing equations. Okay, but this is really a crucial equation, very crucial equation. And the logic is right here. Look at those ones. This is really a good way to understand it and memorize it. Go over it 100 times until it comes to your mind like a second nature. Okay, but this is a very crucial, very, very important. Good, very good. So we can say, well, in our example, in our simple example, the cash flow of the investor is the second law. Everybody agree? Everybody agree that this is the cash flow that the investor is getting? I put $100 in my bank account, and what am I putting every year? This is the law that I'm putting every year. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, intuitively, you can prove it mathematically, but intuitively, what should be the net present value of the second row? This is a really hard question. I'm putting it in a way, most likely you haven't seen it that way. Usually they like to put a lot of equation in finance and economics. I love it myself. I'm a mathematician really by heart, but I love the intuition. What is really this row? What is it really? Anybody wants to help?
The 4.
What do you say? This law, if I continue it forever, I claim the net present value of the second law should be exactly 100. Wow. How did I get that? But I want intuition. What am I putting in the bank? $100. Is that right? First year? Everybody agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What am I getting? That's what I'm getting forever. The amount is growing 4% every year. If you notice, it's exactly 4%. This one going 4%. This one is going 4%. Everything is going 4%. That's the cash flow I'm getting every year. I'm taking home. So I would be stupid if the net present value wouldn't be 100. It has to be 100. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. That's the logic. So the 100 must be equal. So let's write it down. Let's bring us to the next equation, which people just memorizing, unfortunately, instead of really understanding the basic logic. I'm putting $100. That $100 must be equal to what? How much am I getting the first period? Anybody wants to help? How do I get to the
10%.
first 10? How do I get the first 10?
You get 10%.
The $100 exactly times the 10%. Is that right? Everybody agree?
Mm-hmm.
And we agree that we don't pull the whole amount. How much I'm taking home? I'm taking only 60% of that. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Everybody agree? So it's 1 minus reinvestment rate. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
But that's for the first year only, correct? That should be exactly the 10. One more time. It should be equal to 6. Sorry. That's what give me the 6. One more time. I'm taking 100 times 10%. That's giving me the first 10. That's the first. That's the cash I'm getting from depositing $100. I'm not pulling the whole 10. I'm only putting 60% because ROI, let's write it down. This is 40%. Everybody agree? So that's the way I'm getting $6 the first year. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
So everybody happy with this equation?
Yeah.
Oh, so let's look at it. Let's write the equation. That's the cash flow first year. That's the $6. That's equal to what? The amount I put in the bank account. That's the 100 times the return on invested capital. That's the 10%. Everybody agree? That's the 10%. That's the $100 that I deposited in the bank. And I'm getting $6. That's the cash flow I'm getting. And what do I have here, inside here? Times 1 minus, what is the 40%? Anybody wants to tell me what is the 40%?
Reinvestment rate.
Yeah.
Exactly, reinvestment rate. Exactly, the RIR. Is that right? Reinvestment rate. Is that right? That equation must be right. Otherwise, we're getting something wrong. Everybody agree? Can we rewrite this one in a different way? Can we just keep the V, multiply it by ROIC, and multiply it by, again, 1 minus. Anybody wants to replace RIR by something we have seen here? Everybody see what we wrote here? RIR equal to?
The growth.
Okay, so
Exactly. Everybody see G over ROIC. So how about if we write it here? G over ROIC. Same things, isn't it? Cool.
Yeah.
That's not making any sense. Anybody?
You're
Yeah.
replacing it with the equation.
One more time.
You're just replacing it with the equation above.
Exactly. Isn't it the free cash flow, isn't it? This is my free cash flow, isn't it? Everybody agree? This is my
yep.
cash flow. Okay? So, and next year will be the same. I can go forever. But, okay, if I'm getting something, if I'm getting this cash flow next year, what the net present value of it?
It's the cash flow divided by 1 plus the walk.
Interest rate, that's for the first thing. But if it's keep growing the same way. So let's, before we continue here, let's stop for a second. Let's say I'm getting a cash flow that growing every year, like in this example, it's my cash flow was 6% and 624, etc. It's going up, same percentage. You see that? You notice? It's all increasing by 4%. But my first cash flow, it's $6. And how did I get to that $6? One more time, remember? We had $100, got 10%, that's the ROIC, correct? Okay? Then we got the $10, we keeping 40% in the company, so I'm taking only 60%. That's the way we got to this equation. My question is now, how do I go about it to make it, how much is really V supposed to be equal to? Or what is the net present value of something like that, see the first year it's $6. But if I keep going, I will get next year 4% higher, something by 4%. Everybody agree? So let's take another example, even simpler one. Let's say I have $1, and that dollar is going to go, that's dollar going to go by, let's write it, I'll put that number there in a minute. 1 plus, I'll write the number right here in a second. Okay, it's right here, 4%. That's what we were playing so far, correct? So that's G. And I'm telling you that the cost of capital, or the WACC, that's right here, WACC. Don't get intimidated by me jumping all over the places. We'll make an order in a minute, okay? This number is growing every year. Let's just change this one. I have some dollars here. So this one is going up by 4% every year, goes to infinity. And I want to do the net present value of these one things without using mathematics. Anybody wants to help me out? Anybody? I don't want to use, I want to develop the equation. I will come back to this one in a second. But here we go. Let's see what will be the market value of this company a year from now. Anybody wants to help me out? How much do I have in the bank account now? How much should I have in the bank account to make $1?
Almost the class is ending. It's like 101 soon. Just
Say again?
the class is kind of ended. So
Yeah, in fact, we ended. Okay. I will take it from here. I will give you some time to think about it. This is a really good exercise. You're right. Thank you for reminding me. Take this exercise. If you look at the session, eventually we'll end up with this equation. We're getting very close. If you look at the numerator, we got the 1 minus G over ROIC. This one is the ROIC times the value of the assets. It's 8 times. That's what we got here without you noticing. In fact, what we got here, okay, this one, it's a replacement of this one. I will talk about it next week. The only things left is to show that to get the discount, this is for the first year, yeah? This is like the first year. If we divide it not by the WACC, by WACC minus G, we'll get the value of the company. And that's what we'll do next week, okay? Questions, guys?
Thank you, Amos. And can you repeat just the question that you asked?
Yeah, I'm trying to, in fact, I'm getting very close to this equation. The only things I want to say that if you take V should be equal to CF1 divide by the WACC minus G. In fact, if you see, this is exactly what this equation is. So this is, I call it the CF1. In fact, we will replace this one by this one. I will talk about that next week. In fact, what do we have here? We didn't talk about taxes, okay? That's why I said, let's consider it as revenue. It's not exactly, I have to take the taxes out of it, okay? I ignore taxes in my example here. But if I had to pay taxes on that amount, that's the 1 minus T, that's what I would be left with, okay? EBIT, it will be the assets value times ROIC. We'll talk about it next week, okay? So this is the numerator. That's my CF1. In order to see what the value of this cash flow today, I would have to divide it by WACC minus G, and we'll do it next week, okay? So this one, it's exactly this equation right here, okay? I will develop it next week. Questions? Try to think about it. Read the book. He's going over that nicely, really nicely. Okay. Here I've been a little more precise. I used the letter A for the assets, and we'll continue next week. This is a little hard, but after you get the idea and you play with it, that will be really nice. Just let me finish one more sentence, and that's the end of it. This one is a little calculator that does exactly this equation. So if you plug numbers here, the enterprise value is the value right here. So I made a little calculator. You can play with it a little bit and see what happened to the value of the assets of the enterprise if the, let's say the WACC will be lower, let's say 5%. 5% can be, let's say 6%. It has to be more than the goal, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so the value of the enterprise. This is a nice calculator. You can compare cases by using this calculator, but I will do it next week. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ramos,
Yeah, go ahead.
for the
Ah.
assignment, does everyone in the group have to submit the same thing?
No. When you do a group, it's enough just one of you, and that's enough. You don't
Thank
have
you.
to do that. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, Amos.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.